Day 4, and the weather's looking decidedly better than it was this morning. It was cold and pouring and raining this morning, and I was off to the Dior Galleries, which was an entire display based on the work of Christian Dior and the House of Dior. And I'm not much of a fashion person, but I was blown away. They very much have organized it as an art gallery, as each piece is incredibly artistic. You come in and leave through this phenomenal staircase of display items and just wind your way through different displays. And it really had me thinking about fashion and I suppose about life. I'd say I have a mixed relationship with fashion. I kind of understand it. I sort of keep an eye on it. I am far from aiming to be a fashionable person. And yet I'd say you really feel it here in Paris. There definitely is an aesthetic. There is a desire to dress up a little bit more. And the parts of fashion that feel a little off to me is the conformity piece, the having to be in style, having to keep up, having to always buy more and keep up, and nothing lasting longer than a season before the next thing comes in. Somebody might argue that's what the entire industry is based on, getting people to buy more every spring and every summer because what they were wearing last year is now out of fashion. And it also starts to become a transition point and question for bigger discussions today. What areas are you conforming in? What decisions are you making? Because you may not want to step outside of the norms. You may not want to be out of style or looking like you're not fitting in with everybody else. And I don't think this is exclusively all about whether you leave a role or stay in a role. Certainly, that's part of it. If you're unhappy in a corporate role, I really want to help let you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I think more than that, I want these videos to be about how you're living life on your own terms, how you're starting to find life on something that's meaningful for you. If I think of my time in the Dior Gallery today, it was all about being present, about being able to just be in that moment, to see the colors, the fabrics, how they set them up, to have moments of awe and moments of appreciation. And you don't even have to leave the country for those, but you do have to make a commitment to build them into your life. I think as we move into our 40s and our 50s, life does start to change. They often say that our sense of self crystallizes, and I'm not sure whether that's all about a sense of being clear on our values and being clear on who we are, or part of me also wonders if it's just hanging out with the same version of ourselves for enough years that we actually finally get to know ourselves and can make decisions and align ourselves. And I think this is where conflict can start to happen. I think we start to realize places that we're out of alignment, where we've been maybe seeking external validation, external alignment, not wanting to rock the boat, or being more worried about what people might think rather than what we actually want to do. And this becomes a key part of defining who we are at this age. You have to start finding the courage and have to start making the decisions around doing what's right for you, doing what feels right, what you want to be doing rather than what you should be doing. And of course, there are responsibilities. You may or may not want to pay your mortgage. I highly suggest that you do, but at the same time, there's also space to start bringing activities back into your life. If your evenings are resigned to hanging out on the couch, watching TV, or on the computer, just trying to numb out, there's a chance to do something bigger, to find something bigger in life. And I think if the calling's there, you'll start to feel it. You can start to tune into it. We all have different things that we're interested in. We have different passions. And I recognize how syrupy the idea of follow your passions, find your purpose can be. And I don't necessarily buy into all of it. I would say more than follow your passions and find your purpose, I would say know your value and know that if you want to move on to the other side of something, what business is waiting to be started? What consulting or coaching or mentoring is waiting to pay you for the experience and the knowledge that you have? What nonprofit is just waiting for somebody with your experience and expertise to really take them to the next level? And so this isn't about following some random dream or hearing some magic voice that tells you what your purpose is. But this is about no longer going through the motions. This is about not putting up with a whole lot of unhappiness or boredom or frustration or dread in your life for the things that just aren't bringing you joy. This is where we start to realize time isn't infinite anymore. And we start to make decisions around having better quality of life and better quality of life in the relationships, the experiences, and just how we're living our life. It is one life that we get, and you can work another 4 hours this week. You can work a little harder and make sure the house is absolutely perfectly clean, or you can find some space and spend some time with you. You can go for a walk without headphones. You can take yourself to your own local art gallery. You can buy a set of paints and just play. Pick up some wood and do a little woodworking. It's about finding time that is enjoyable, that you can get into some version of flow, and letting go of a certain productivity of it as well. If you're going to do something new, pick up something new that starts to bring joy back into your life, expect to be bad at it. And that's not really the point. You're not necessarily taking art classes to paint the next Leonardo da Vinci painting. You're taking art classes because you want to play with color. You want to create the effect of light and shadow with a million different shades of green or blue. You want to layer on different aspects. You want to figure out how to take two-dimensional shapes and create depth with them. That's what the process is about. And knowing that as you do that, your mind isn't thinking about work. Your mind isn't thinking about family conflicts or isn't stuck on whatever headlines of doom and gloom are on the news right now. It's about finding that quality in your life. And this is the great joy of this adventure for me. The sun came out, and I was so enjoying every second of being in Paris, walking along the streets, enjoying the river, hopping on my metro. It is the dream life that I wanted it to be. And it's going to ebb and flow. Not every moment will be perfect. Yesterday morning, I was tired. There will be more rainy days ahead. But I've made the choice and I've made the decisions that have allowed me to be here, that have allowed me to have more experiences, to access more places like the Dior Gallery, and to just broaden my horizons. I had really no idea about much of Christian Dior's life or work or what the fashion house was doing until I started wandering through today. And now I have a deep appreciation for just how much effort went into each of those looks, carefully choosing a fabric, carefully choosing a silhouette, how the decisions of shaping any particular garment referenced and reflected the culture and the times. And these are the kinds of experiences that are open to you, learning and growing and simply being curious and finding the space for that to happen in your life. You have to make the choices to carve out the space. You have to choose to not work one more hour. You have to choose to use your vacation time, regardless of what the corporate culture says, letting go of all of the bad hustle culture messages and the sense that If we work ourselves hard enough, we will move our way high enough up the corporate ladder, and at last we will be happy. We have to let go of that arrival fallacy, the idea that happiness is always out in the future. I was speaking to some people, even in the lineup, waiting to get into the gallery today, and we were sharing that very conversation. They were in their early 60s, they were enjoying some empty nest time, and they said, "This is the time to travel." And I completely agree. I don't want to wait until I'm 70 to try and go on tours or to try and be accommodated or not have the stamina to do the walking or all of the stairs required to do a metro transfer. I want to do it now. I don't feel like I need to put my happiness out to some point in the future. And none of us get guarantees of the years ahead. So I live my life with more and more passion and focus and less regret. Do I still believe I will find the income and all of the resources I need for a healthy and productive and prosperous retirement? Absolutely. And the more I'm able to travel the world, the more I'm able to see perspectives like what I saw today, the more I realize how infinite the markets are, how all of the different ways exist out there for us to keep ourselves afloat, for us to make an income, to make money. But we have to make the bold decisions that we are worth it, that we have the skills, the abilities, and we don't have to know everything. We just have to have the willingness to start and to learn as we go. Over and over, they tell you as an entrepreneur, you only have to be good enough to get to the next point and the next point. You don't have to figure it all out. You're never going to have it all figured out. There is no point in the future in which there will be a perfect time to leave the job. There will be no perfect point in the future in which you're finally ready to settle down and focus on your hobbies. There will be no point in your week where you have excess time that you don't know what to do with. It's all about the priorities that you choose. It's all about making a choice to trust yourself, to trust the wisdom that you have, to trust the experience that you have, and to do great things with it. I know that it feels scary, that it feels like the leap, and absolutely there are parts of it that are. But if I can model anything, the reward is there over and over and over again. I've only been in Paris for a couple of days, and it is fantastic. And feeling like I have another 3.5 weeks here just feels infinite at this moment. And I can't wait to see what other experiences I have. I can't wait to see what other inspiration I have. And I can't wait to see what ideas connect with each other that I had no idea would connect with each other. This is how we move into that life. This is how we follow our passions and do what we want to do. So start thinking about it. Start giving yourself permission to just consider that your life could look different. Start wondering where you want to be that fashion rebel. And that doesn't necessarily mean trying to be out of style. Across our entire culture, there are those who are working hard to make sure they're aligned and following the trends. There are those who are probably lacking behind and a few years out of style and a little bit obvious. And then there are the outright rebels who simply dress the way that they want to dress, who reflect their own style, and who are leaders rather than followers. And figure out where you want to break those rules, figure out what is going to work for you. But most importantly, start to choose you. None of this can happen until you start to choose you. You don't have infinite time. You can't put happiness out on a point in the horizon in the future. I want you to start believing that happiness is possible now. And I want you to start asking yourself, what's calling to you? What has appealed to you? What wants even just an hour of your time for some play, for some non productive, enjoyable activities that aren't the version of numbing out in front of the TV or food or video games, but the ones that engage your brain in a creative way, the ones that expand your horizons, the ones that help you feel like you occupy this life more than you do on your way to work. Start figuring those pieces out. You don't have to figure it all out, just allow space for those moments to come. We'll see you for day 5 tomorrow.